Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here. In today's video, I'll be giving you guys an update on the Terry McLaurin extension saga, why they just got some not so good news about that whole situation. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video. A real quick update out of the hospital, so feeling a lot better, which is great, at home, which obviously makes things a lot better. I just want to thank you guys all for your support and everything. I know some people, hit me with a couple of super thanks. That was great. Someone even Venmoed me because someone was like, "Man, you guys gotta send some money to Pedro, or else he's gonna stop, or he's gonna keep posting videos." But I love posting the videos, and it just helps. It's fun for me. It really is fun for me. But hey, if you want to hit me with a Venmo, that would be great. But hey, I just appreciate all of you guys watching the channel and allowing me to make these videos. I would think it really does help, and it's a good thing to do every day. But let's talk about it. Talk about this Terry McLaurin situation in today's video. So Terry McLaurin is still unhappy with where things are with the team on an extension. This is per Jeremy Fowler from ESPN. So this is not new news in terms of Terry being unhappy, but it's continued bad news. So yeah, it's not great news. And anytime you hear that one of your franchise players, if we have a Mount Rushmore right now of Commanders stars, he's number 2 on the list. It's Jaden Daniels. After that, it's Terry McLaurin. It's very clear. And then after that, it's debatable. Do you want to put Frankie Louvu on that list? Do you want to put maybe one of the offensive linemen on the list? Do you want to put Sam Cosmi when he's healthy? Or Tyler Biadasz when he's healthy? Maybe Laremy Tunsil if he steps up this year. Maybe you want to throw Mike Sainers still into that mix eventually. Duran, I don't know. But he's up. Terry's number 2, and there's no doubt about it. I think you need to, keep him on the team, obviously, and it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea at all to not keep him on the squad. And he's going to be on the team this year regardless, but I think they need to extend him before the season starts. I do want to look at some wide receivers right now and just kind of go over how much each player is making. So we'll go right here. Just go to wide receiver ones. I don't know why. I want to go to the total for these guys. Whatever. I'm just gonna look up while I'm talking here. 2025 highest paid receivers. But Terry's gonna want. He's gonna want a salary in the 30 to 34-ish range in terms of how much he gets paid. So I don't know if that's something the Washington Commanders want to give him right now. I think it's going to be somewhere in that range. You see Jamar Chase is at 40.25. He's not making that. Justin Jefferson at 35. I don't believe he's going to make that. CeeDee Lamb at 34. I don't think he's going to make that. But I think something that could easily be done is, let's go to here. This is where it is. Okay, Spot Track. So I think something that they could easily do. DK Metcalf is making $33 million a year. I think Terry's a better receiver than DK, and obviously he's getting his contract a little bit later. So give Terry a $33.5 million a year contract. That's better than DK. Puts him at number 4 on the list. Puts him over someone that got drafted ahead of him, is younger than him, but I think Terry's had the better career. So for me, I think that is this, situation that makes the most sense. That's what I think. 33.5 mil, maybe if you really wanted to. The max, $34 million and $1. Then you get him over CD. He'll be the number 3 highest paid receiver in the league. He'll be happy with that. I think he does deserve to get paid higher than a lot of the guys that are paid ahead of him. Obviously, should be paid more than Calvin Ridley, Michael Pittman. Nico Collins is a different story. I'm not going to argue how much more Terry should get paid over him, but the Texans got a bargain with him. I think he should be paid more than Devonta Smith and, some of these other guys as well that are over him. Let me keep going. Devonta Smith, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Ayuk at this point in his career. I think Terry deserves to get paid more than all those guys. Some of the other names of these players that have, played, Brandon Ayuk hasn't played a lot of games. So for him, I think the 49ers overpaid a little bit. I'm happy the Commanders didn't make that trade. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he, some people would say he's better than Terry. I think most NFL fans would. I'd rather have Terry on my team, but again, I think that is up for debate. A.J. Brown, CD, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I think all these other NFL fans would have, Terry below them. But, whenever I say that, NFL or Commanders, Redskins fans, they hate on me for saying that, I would probably have them over Terry. Does that mean I think I rather have, them on my team than Terry? No, because Terry has a different value. He's been with this team for a while, and I just rather keep him around because of the person and player he is and what he means to the city. And I couldn't, move on from Terry. But I'll be honest, Jamar Chase is a better receiver than him. If you can't see that, I'm sorry, but it's just true. Justin Jefferson, same thing. He's done it with, not so great quarterbacks and has still produced. But Terry is still a very good receiver in this league. I think he's a top 10 guy. I think he should get paid like one, and he'll get paid like a top 5 guy. And that makes sense because whenever you get a new contract and you're one of better better players at your position, you're going to get paid close to the top. You might not get number 1 or number 2 because there might be some guys that are way better than you, or not even better, but with like Jamar, for example, he's better and younger, makes more sense why he's going to make that much. But Terry's not going to make that much. But he'll still probably be in this top 6 range. And even though a lot of people in the NFL might not think he's a top 6 receiver, well, in a couple years, a bunch of these receivers will be getting new deals, and it'll push some of these players back down the list like Terry McLaurin. So in 2-3 years, I think, Terry's not going to necessarily be the 5th, 6th, top 10 even highest paid receiver. I think it's going to, continue to go down and down and down. I'm trying to see some of these free agents. We can go to 2020. Like if we just want to look at 2026, and we'll look at wide receivers just to see some of the players. And I don't know why this is glitching right now, but I want to see some of the players available and which receivers are hitting free agency, just to see, what type of players are going to maybe reset the market. So you got not a lot of guys that are better than Terry. I mean, the only one that's like close to his level is Mike Evans, but again, he's an older guy, so he's not going to get a lot of money. De'Ami Brown's a free agent, so not a lot of guys. Not a lot of guys that are projected to get a lot of money right here. Cortland Sutton getting paid 26 is crazy. Let's go 2027. Because again, there also are guys that are going to be able to get extended earlier than this. So if we look at right here, it's still not a lot. I could see though Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Chris Olave. Again, I don't think any of those guys necessarily are better than Terry. But in 2027, when they get their contract extensions or next off season, I could see them, one of those guys, getting I easily could see Garrett Wilson getting paid over $30 million. And if Drake London has a really good year, I could see the same thing. The other two, I'm not so sure, but again, they have the talent. So I'm just looking at players, that potentially could go over Terry, and you're going to start to see it eventually. And I don't think that $33 million $33 million per year is that crazy when you look at some of the other players on the list, and Terry deserves it. And you have to reward your really good players. And, if it's really still a sticking point at some point, you can maybe just, make it very incentive based. Not very incentive based, but make it high. Maybe you make the contract worth 30 million a year, and then to give him that baseline of 30, and then add some, big time incentives in there. Give him, some incentives. Maybe he hasn't hit before because he's a good receiver, but he hasn't hit 1,200 yards in a season, I believe. So let's get a 1,200 yard season. If he gets 1,200, maybe give him an extra 500, 750K. If he gets 10 plus touchdowns like he did last year, give him another 500K and just add those incentives onto the contract. And I think that'll, make a big difference because he wants to get paid a baseline, and I think 30 is fair. And then you add these other things in that, if I'm a player, I want incentives. It strives me get better, and 1,200 yards I think is very doable for Terry McLaurin. He hasn't done it, but I do think it is doable. If he makes some more catches and they incorporate him a little bit better into the offense sometimes, I think he'll be able to get that 1,200 yard season and maybe get 500, 600, whatever the number is. They can add more than just they can add a catch incentive. They can add a yards incentive. They can add a touchdown incentive. They can add if he makes the Pro Bowl, All Pro, certain amount of game bonuses if he plays a certain amount of games. If they make, far enough in the season, and maybe he can get that 30 to 32, 32.5 a year. And maybe that's not enough compared to the other receivers. So maybe you up that base to 31, 31.5, and then with the incentives, he can get up to like $34 million a year. And I think that's more than fair for Terry McLaurin. But that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.